Massive US-Venezuela gold deal. Venezuela's state oil tanker hits by a large explosion off the coast of Kuwait, causing major oil spill. These and many more would be a part of a conversation this morning. On the foreign scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin suggested on Wednesday that Russia could stop supplying gas to European markets now and move to more promising markets. The European Commission will submit a legal proposal to permanently ban Russian oil imports on April 15, 3 days after Hungary's parliamentary election, according to EU officials and documents. Putin said, and I quote, "And now other markets are opening up, and perhaps it would be more profitable for us to stop supplying the European market right now, then move into these markets that are opening up and establish themselves there," Putin told Russian state TV reporters. Qatar Energy declares a force majeure after halting LNG production. Qatar Energy has declared force majeure on its liquefied natural gas LNG supplies after suspending production at key export facilities, deepening anxiety across global energy markets already unsettled by the escalating conflict involving Iran. In a notice to buyers posted on X, the state-owned energy giant said the declaration followed its decision to halt LNG and associated production after Iranian strikes targeted facilities linked to Ras Laffan and Masjid industrial city. The shutdown affects LNG output as well as downstream products including urea, polymers, methanol and aluminium, raising concerns about supply disruption across multiple industrial value chains. Qatar Energy operates 14 LNG trains at the Ras Laffan industrial city and remains the world's largest single LNG exporter, supplying long-term buyers across Europe and Asia. Analysts estimate that roughly 1/5 of global LNG supply could be at risk if the disruption persists, a development that may significantly tighten an already fragile global gas market. The force majeure declaration allows Qatar Energy to suspend contractual delivery, the delivery obligation due to circumstances beyond its control. However, the company has not provided a timeline when production might resume. And now to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's national airline, Saudia, has extended the suspension of its flights to several cities, including Amman, Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Doha, Bahrain, Moscow, and Peshawar. In a statement released on March 4th, the airline said the cancellation will continue for 2 more days until March 6th. It explained that the measure is a precaution due to the current situation. The airline said it is closely monitoring development through its Emergency Coordination Center, working with relevant authorities to ensure passenger safety and smooth operations. Saudi added that passengers affected by the cancellation will be contacted via the detail provided in their bookings. In Nigeria, the Nigerian Customs Service has announced the seizure of 14,375 litres of premium motor spirit PMS, valued at about 14.4 million naira, in its latest operation amidst hike in the pump price of petrol nationwide. The seizure was made by Operation Wildwind, a special task force of the Customs Service. The smuggled PMS was intercepted in Calabar, Cross River State, and was bound for Cameroon. The duty-paid value of the seized PMS stands at 14,375,000 naira. The service has intensified effort to curb fuel smuggling and other forms of illicit trade in the region. Still in Nigeria, the Nigerian government has announced a fresh tax collection framework to expand its tax needs into small businesses. This was disclosed in a statement by the Nigerian Finance Ministry's X account. Multiplicity of thoughts indicate that a policy document titled Presumption Tax Framework is expected to make tax payments simplified for traders, artisans and other micro enterprises. Speaking on the new system, the Executive Secretary of the Joint Revenue Board, GRB, Mr. Olusegun Odosokan, has said it prohibits the use of roadblocks by tax officials to collect levies. On his part, Minister of Finance Wale Edun said the presumptive tax regime is meant to provide a simple and fair system, for small businesses. Multiplicity of thought has indicated different perspectives regarding this. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu suspended the cashless payment system as airport toll gates across the country following widespread gridlock that has caused passengers to miss their flights. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, announced a suspension on Wednesday. The suspension was announced on Wednesday after the Federal Executive Council meeting at the State House, Abuja, saying the President directed an immediate return to the status quo while a more efficient system is developed. He emphasized that the major reason for the suspension was to eliminate the gridlock at the Lagos and Abuja airport toll gates. The cashless system was introduced less than a week ago to eliminate corruption and optimize revenue collection at toll gates operated by the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria across the country. For over 50 years, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria had collected cash from motorists at toll gates, parking lots and other collection points at airports nationwide. However, the transition to cashless system created massive traffic congestion at airport access roads, with passengers reporting hours-long delays and missed flights. Meanwhile, our credit to private sector drops to 75.2 trillion naira in January. Our credit to the private sector CPS declined to 75.2 trillion naira in January 2026, reflecting a slowdown in lending activities at the start of the year by deposit money banks, according to the latest money and credit statistics released by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN). The figure represents a drop compared to December 2025, indicating tighter financial conditions and cautious lending by deposit money banks amid prevailing macroeconomic uncertainties. A credit to the private sector captures loans and advances extended by banks to businesses and households, and it is widely regarded as a key driver of economic growth, investment and job creation. The contraction in private sector credit comes against the backdrop of a slight moderation in overall liquidity. A broad money supply M3 fell to 123.36 trillion naira in January from 124.4 trillion naira in December, signaling a marginal tightening in monetary conditions. Analysts say the dip in private sector credit could be linked to elevated interest rates, risk aversion among lenders and weak consumer demand, which may have dampened appetite for new borrowing. Still looking at the context of Nigeria, Nigeria's export-led trade recorded a significant surge, accounting for 39% of total cargo throughput in 2025. This is according to the 2025 Operational Performance Report recently released by the Nigerian Port Authority (NPA). The report stated that total cargo throughput surged by 24.8%, rising from approximately 103.6 million metric tons in 2024 to over 129.3 million metric tons in 2025. Meanwhile, the report said import dominance inward traffic, which stood at 59.2%. Accordingly, the report highlighted that containerized cargo, a key indicator of export trade activity, grew significantly as total container traffic increased by 25.7%, surpassing 2.1 million 22-foot equivalent units (TEUs). This means that export container grew by 3.1%, while import laden containers surged by 32.8% in the period under review. And now we'll go on a quick break, and when we're back, Business 360 continues looking at CBN's gold holding as it rises to $3.5 billion and also tracking global economic standings around the world and the markets. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's your Business 360 and my name is Bladunken. And now to the remaining part of Business 360. We'll look at some perspective from Nigeria's CBN Gold holding a rise to $3.5 billion. The Central Bank of Nigeria has received domestically sourced gold refined to international standards into the country's foreign reserves, raising its total gold holding to about $3.5 billion. Multiplicity of thoughts has indicated that the Apex Bank disclosed this in a statement, noting that the bullion was refined to the London Bullion Market Association Gold a Good Delivery Standard. According to the bank, the gold was sourced locally and aggregated by the Solid Minerals Development Fund through the National Gold Purchase Program. Its global economic outlook. Up next is global economic outlook. And now to global economic outlook. China is setting lowest economic growth target since 1991. China has cut its annual economic growth target to a range of 4.5 to 5%, the lowest expansion goal since 1991, as it grapples with challenges both at home and abroad. It is the first time the target has been lowered since it was cut to around 5% in 2023. A target was not set in 2020 due to the pandemic. The details were released during China's biggest political gathering, known as the Two Sessions, alongside the release of some details of a 15-5-year plan for the world's second-largest economy. Beijing aims to reshape its economy as it faces issues like weak consumption and a shrinking population, an ongoing property crisis, global tensions, trade tensions, and energy crunch due to the Iran war. Meanwhile, a trade court orders tariff refunds in setback for Trump administration. The federal judge has cleared the way for thousands of businesses to receive refunds for tariffs that the Supreme Court struck down last month. The U.S. Court of International Trade on Wednesday ordered Customs and Border Protection to issue refunds for levies U.S. President Donald Trump introduced last year under the International Emergency Economic Power Act, IEEPA. All importers of record whose entries were subject to IEEPA duties are entitled to the benefit from the High Court's ruling, Judge Richard Eaton wrote. The payment process remained murky, but the trade court decision marked a setback for Trump, who has moved to replace the important taxes and bemoaned the prospects of refunds. And now to the markets. And now to the markets as oil jumped over 3%. The WTI crude oil futures jumped more than 3% towards $78 per barrel today, and nearing the highest level since late January as the Middle East conflict disrupts global oil supplies. China's government has ordered its major refiners to hold diesel and gasoline exports amid rising tensions in the Persian Gulf. Concerns over further escalation around Iran and ongoing regional instability have kept investors on edge, while shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, a critical choke point, has been disrupted. Efforts to ease market worries, including proposals for vessels, insurance and naval escorts, have so far failed to calm investors who are closely monitoring development for signs of a prolonged conflict. Meanwhile, EIA data showed our U.S. crude inventories rose by 3.5 million barrels to 439.3 million, well above expectations, providing a buffer against potential supply shocks. And now to the markets, the energy market first, afterwards the metals and agricultural market, and subsequently we'll look at the financial markets. Let's start with the energy markets. Now to the energy markets. Energy markets begins with the price of crude oil, U.S. crude, at $76 per barrel, upward 1.55 points, a 2.08% appreciation. Brent, which represents Nigeria's price benchmark, the price level stands at $82 per barrel, upward 1.409 points, a 1.73% appreciation. And now to the metal markets. Metal market indicates the price of gold price at $5,162 per ounce, gaining 26 points this morning, 0.52% appreciation, and silver price at $84 per ounce, upward a 0.83% appreciation. Copper are falling slightly this morning, a negative 0.8%, and steel price dropping by 0.29% this morning. Agricultural markets. Agricultural market indicates the price of soybeans at $1,159 per bushel, upward 4.81 points, a 0.42% appreciation. Wheat price at $572 per bushel, gaining 5.51 points, a 0.97% appreciation. Lumber also gaining. The price of palm oil dropping 25 points this morning at 4,164 Malaysian ringgit per ton. And now to the financial market, as FX update indicates, Indian rupee appreciates by 0.45%. And let's look at the FX market, talking about the Euro USD market first, afterwards the state of the Naira and the cryptocurrency market as we close. Euro USD market price level stands at 1.16 point mark, dropping a negative 0.12%. It's a US dollar also dropping negative 0.2% at $1.33 to 1 pound. Quickly, the state of the Naira, the US dollar against the Naira. US dollar against the Naira price level stands at 1,384 Naira to the US dollar. The dollar gaining 1.68 points over the Naira, 0.12% appreciation. While other currencies in Nigeria, in Africa rather, the likes of South African Rand, struggling also against the US dollar at 16 Rand, equaling $1. The dollar gaining 0.8% over the South African Rand. And quickly, let's conclude with the cryptocurrency markets. A crypto market indicates the price of Bitcoin at $72,556, downward by 149 points. On a weekly basis, Bitcoin has gained 7.53%, but this morning slowing down, a negative 0.2%. Ether also slowing down. Binance, Cardano, Solana, Ripples on the negative. Solana are doing quite well. On a weekly basis, 6.24% appreciation for Solana. There's a much we can take with the world of business, and here we draw the curtain in today's edition of Business 360 after looking at all the markets and the direction that comes with it. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Blyden Ukem, and thank you for watching.